The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at WrestlingWithJohners.com.
Welcome back to another episode of Buckle Bomb Presents. I am here with Sarah Visick, along with Max Burnside and referee Brad Lee. Welcome, guys.
Saw, dudes. How's it going?
You.
All right. So my first question for you guys is, what did you guys do over the weekend?
I was at
Brad?
Relentless.
I was actually doing some ASAP wrestling work, some of the back end stuff that still has to be taken care of. When I'm not wrestling, I'm going to be focusing my time on making sure that ASAP is a well-run product. So I spent a lot of time in this awesome notebook that I have that I will show. You know, it's inspiration from The Waterboy. I don't know if you guys seen that movie. Everyone's probably have, but the coach had a famous green notebook. So I figured, why not have a famous blue notebook that we have literally everything that we're doing, from finances to all of the booking, all of our ideas, everything's in this playbook, ready to go. So my nose is in this most of the weekend. So
Awesome. So I saw that you guys had an ASAP sticker on there, right?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right. So does that mean that there is a merch that's already available for people?
Not quite yet. I've just gotten some stickers to kind of give to some people, as well as kind of put up in some places that I'm allowed to kind of help give some buzz for when we announce the official date. We're going to have an official video, and we're going to have like a nice little hype package to go with that. But that is in the works right now, is an official website for ASAP Wrestling, and then we'll have a merch section as well.
Perfect.
Do we have a ballpark
Max?
idea when ASAP will be ready to go, or a goal point?
Brad, you want to give that one?
Actually, hold on.
January
Before we get into that, I do want to introduce you guys as individuals before we do talk about that. Max, tell us who you are and how long you've been in the business for.
My name is Max Burnside. I'm the chillest dude in pro wrestling. I've been wrestling for about 8 years. I trained for about 2 years of that 8 years, so I've been in front of a crowd for about 6. And my training has been from a guy by the name of Cameron Starr, who was one of the last students of Playboy Buddy Rose. And of course, Playboy Buddy Rose is a synonymous name in the Northwest. And there's only a few students left of Playboy Buddy Rose, of people who have trained under him, guys like Ricky Gibson, guys like Big Ugly. There's a whole slew of guys that I'm forgetting off the top of my head just because CTE. But yeah, so I've been in the business for about 8 years, and finally getting in my hand into the back end and into some promoting.
Brad, I kind of know a little bit of your story because we started together, but tell me when you started and how you got into the business.
So I started training when Oregon Pro Wrestling School, Ricky Gibson, opened it up right at the very beginning, towards the end of COVID there, where we trained hard for days and days and days. But then I debuted for SOS Pro Wrestling's very first show.
I didn't know that.
And then my career just kind of took off from there. And now I'm all over the country, everywhere. I'll be seeing Sarah here coming up in just a few. Be flying to New York.
Yep.
Oh, for what promotion? Are you going, Sarah?
At this moment, yes, planning to.
Yeah,
Brad, is this your first show in New York?
Yes, this will be my New York debut with
nice.
the Midwest Wrestling Warriors. So super honored and super fun to be there. Can't wait. Got my tickets in already for it, so we're ready.
Nice.
Where has your favorite place been that you have been to for wrestling? as far as like a city or a state?
Like outside of being in the PNW,
Yeah.
WrestleMania week in LA was by far like the highlight to my career. I mean, I got to work multiple deathmatch companies. I got to get my hands in with GCW, and I got to do Relentless down in LA, and Pandemonium, and Dark Art, and Circle Six. So I'm gonna say that was like my highlight. I can't wait for Mania this year.
Yeah. By the way, he tells me, oh, he could have got me bookings after the fact. I was like, that makes sense. Max, tell me a little bit about the road that you've traveled so far.
I've been fortunate enough to go outside the PNW a little bit, places like Vegas, wrestle for Versus Pro. I was on the very first Grap House event. Also, I was very fortunate to be on MV's Polycult Party 3, which was in Pittsburgh. I think that was probably my favorite, outside of the PNW, just because Pittsburgh is a lot like Portland. It's kind of, it has that same kind of feel. And Pittsburgh is just a great time. Ziggy Hyam, such a pure heart, good soul. Was hanging out with her and her dogs the whole time. So Pittsburgh is probably my favorite place, but a lot of my stuff has been mostly PNW. I've been down to Cali once, but like I said, I've been fortunate enough to go out to like Vegas and Pittsburgh and stuff like that. So I'm still trying to make my way out, but again, trying to focus on other things so that way I can make sure that the PNW scene is still intact. So
definitely. So what is one dream that you have already accomplished, and what is one dream that you want to accomplish?
Okay. Wow, this is a good one. Well, I think one goal that I think I accomplished that I set out for myself was to stand out amongst a talented slew of people. There with guys like Nick Wayne, Jaden. You got the Stray. You got Ick and Travis Williams and Judas Icarus. You got guys like that are around here. You know, you have to kind of stand out because those guys are top tier talent. And so I feel like that when you see, when you see a Max Burnside on a marquee, you know that it's either going to be a good match or it's going to be something to remember. So I'd like to think that I've started to get that reputation. But as far as like a long-term goal, one dream that I really want is to become a name in the PNW as someone who has not only kept the scene thriving, but also has maybe added some stuff to make it even bigger. Because Nick Wayne is signed to AEW, and that puts more eyes on the PNW. And so I think the biggest dream for me is to just is to have a part in the history of the PNW.
A worthy goal. What about you, Brad?
My biggest goal?
What has been a goal that you set out for you when you first started wrestling that you have accomplished, and what is a goal that you are wanting to obtain next?
Goal that I wanted to accomplish was getting on Prestige, which I did. The goal that I'm striving for now is signing with Impact.
Both super good goals. So let's talk about. Okay,
let me interrupt you for a minute, Brian. Now, your goal being Impact, did you see the big news today? They're upping their production value here in the next coming months, updating the sound quality and stage and everything.
I did, because they're going to be the roster that they have deserves the national spotlight that AEW roster and WWE roster has.
Agree.
Definitely. So let's talk about ASAP Wrestling. How did it start? What's it about? Give us all the deets.
Well, ASAP started from kind of some despair in the PNW. This last year, we saw the demise of 3 promotions. 5cc, Without a Cause, and then Timber Pro is taking a hiatus. So that's 3 platforms for talent to not perform, and that's a problem for us wrestlers. So Brad and myself and Jaden came together and we're like, hey, like this is kind of something that we might need to get into. And with some research, with the help of Mr. Drexel, and with the help of a guy by the name of Jason Sullivan, who used to run DOA prior to Drexel, and he was a guy that is another Buddy Rose guy, and who also trained with Roddy Piper. So been asking help from him as far as like the promoting side. So been gaining as much research as we can, kind of like the despair, so that way we can create another platform for people to perform.
Where are you guys going to where is the location at?
We will be in Tacoma, North Tacoma, in the Performance Arts District area. Historic venue. Max has the landmark venues and catering up there in Tacoma.
Yep, it's actually it's one big building, but there's like 4 venues on the inside of it, and the biggest venue that's there is called the Temple Theater, which wrestling has been ran there before. And then there's another venue that's kind of underneath that. That's called the Plaza Grand Ballroom, and that's where we're officially going to be running it. So.
What so you guys talked a little bit about a roster. Who you guys kind of have as far as ideas? As he flips through the Bible.
As I flip through the Bible, let me go to the first card, because we actually have most of our first cards set. But as far as like a roster, we want to have like a wide array of local talent, with just a small mix of fly-in talent, of course, just to get that marquee name, as well as put the boys and girls over a little bit. But some of the people that we're looking to book are people like of course, Jaden, guys like Charlie Avell, guys like the Flaming Aces, the Hammer Brothers, Chris Brady, Zeb Saint, Murphy Madsen, Caleb Kennedy. He's actually a PNW guy, but he's he's in Atlanta, or he's down in Georgia. I can't remember which town.
He's in Atlanta. With the night.
He's in Atlanta. Yep. So pretty much a nice array of PNW talent, with just a couple of surprise fly-ins that we're hoping to lock in here shortly. So,
do you guys have a date for your first show?
January 7th.
And
Sunday, January 7th.
Sunday. Do you guys have like an event name for it?
Max?
It is going to be called it's called ASAP Wrestling Presents Commencement at the Bay.
Okay.
Because where we're running, it's in the South Sound, and the bay that's right there is called Commencement Bay. And so a lot of Tacoma is very community based, and one reason why we picked Tacoma is ASAP. We not only want to put on a show, but we want to create community. And so North Tacoma is pretty well known for having some good community.
So are you guys also looking for sponsors?
We are.
Okay. If somebody wanted to sponsor, tell me a little bit how that works. If like somebody listening to our show wanted to like sponsor a match or an event, what goes into that? Do you guys have any?
So right now I actually do have some sponsorship packages ready to go, and I do have a graphic for that we can be to sent out. That is that anybody that wants it, we might post it on our socials. I'm still debating on doing that, just because I want to keep it, obviously that's a little bit more on the private side, but if anybody wants to sponsor, you can hit up myself or Brad, and then we can just get going from there. Like I said, we have some package deals going where we're kind of doing it show by show. We haven't really thought about sponsoring matches individually yet, but that's definitely something that we can work on, just because logistically we haven't thought of like how that would work with presenting that to sponsors and being like, because obviously when you have sponsors, you want to be able to give them tickets and stuff like that. So you have to be able to have like be able to compensate for that. So it's a nice partnership that we want to be able to have between us and our sponsors. So.
Yeah. What made me think of sponsors is kind of like community based. If like a sponsor for like sorry, my head goes to like social services because that's what I've done for so long. So it just kind of goes, that's where it went. So tell me a little bit about like, okay, so if you are going to have your event on January 7th, are you guys going to be able to record it? And if so, where are people going to see it if they are not local to the PNW?
Hopefully, I'm testing it out now, but first run we'll have a camera set up and probably streaming it on Twitch. But we're still kind of working that out. Eventually, our goal will be able to be like to sell live passes where people can just pay money to watch the show like a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So something easy, small, like $4.99. So that way, it's like it's to help generate the revenue to help pay the boys and girls. Because anything that we make, it's any profit that we make or anything that we gain, it's to help continue the show going forward. So we're not using this company to help line our pockets. We're using this to help create a scene. And so we need funding, unfortunately, to do that. And the more funding that we have, the longer that we're able to keep this show going. Funding.
I'd like to have our own streaming platform where people can go to like ASAP Wrestling's app and there's all of our shows and they can pay for it just like Impact does with Impact Plus. That's my goal.
What would the ultimate goal be for ASAP Wrestling?
Longevity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal, is longevity.
We don't want to compete with any other promotion that's running. We want to be like DOA. DOA's got a decade of going on, getting ready to have another celebration.
15 years. 15 years is a long time for a company to be running in the Pacific Northwest continuously.
So that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
Nice, positive atmosphere where people get to work and fans can come and see some great stories and, escape reality for hour and a half, 2 hours.
When you guys came up with this concept, I know that we were talking a little bit on the negative side, but tell me a little bit about like how you guys came together and was like, hey, like let's do this. What were some of the starting points of being like, we can actually do this, and some of the first type of conversations that were had around building it? And how did you guys come up with a name?
Well, the name goes to Jaden because he had it on his 2K, so it was a little E-Fed that he was playing with on the game. The name, he pulled it out, said, hey, I have this. And we were all like, that's it. Instantly, that was it. And that's where All-Star Action Professional Wrestling came from.
Yeah, I gotta admit, when I first saw it, I was actually super impressed. I was like, that name's gonna stick. Like, there's nothing similar to it. Naturally, like I think I even said ASAP a couple of times, but it's just because that's how it sticks. And that's actually going to be beneficial, I believe, because it's obviously going to make people think about it more. So kudos on the name. It was actually one of my favorite things. So tell me a little bit about so we talked about where we came from. How long before are you guys planning on running shows? Like how soon after another? Like what is your frequency?
Monthly. We've locked our venue in for the year. So we have dates every month for the next year.
Okay.
So yeah, we have our venue for the year locked in, dates all locked in for the year. So we will be running every month on Sunday.
Nice. What would you, if you're describing the atmosphere, the culture, what would you describe ASAP wrestling?
Well, I think the majority of at least our generation are like 90s, early 2000s kids. And maybe even some late 80s kids in there on that one too. But like, we want to kind of have like the feel of like when you go into like a 90s arcade, like the vibe when you go in, it's just kind of like, you know, you're there for a good time and you know that you're going to leave with something, a prize or something, you're going to leave with something. And that's kind of like the atmosphere that we want to kind of create. And of course, we want it to be very positive. That's the goal of ASAP, is to just make sure that we're always pretty positive. Wrestling can be pretty edgy enough as it is, so we're gonna try and keep it to the PG level as much as we can, just because we want to also have kids at our show. Um, I remember going to shows as a kid, and I remember having a great old time, and I could not imagine not allowing kids to come have a great time.
So does that mean we're not going to see any death matches for Ref Brad to referee here?
Well, maybe not necessarily some death matches, but
The state athletic commission will not allow for death matches in Washington State, so my death matches will be postponed for Illinois, Oregon, because in Oregon we get to have them. So if you want to watch me in a death match again, DOA coming up next month, we have a death match there.
I also saw you sit on a barbed wire chair recently.
I did not sit on the chair. Actually, Funny Bone drop kicked me into the chair because Zicky Dice decided he wanted to grab me and pull me in front of him so that he didn't have to get kicked. And then I got kicked, and I went into a barbed wire chair.
Maybe for our YouTube, we can insert that clip, and you guys can see it. We saw.
I got cut, and it hurt. I do not recommend getting drop kicked by Funny Bone into a chair.
0 out of 10.
0 out of 10 recommendations. All right. Is there anything that you guys would like to add?
Brad?
No, I think we pretty much hit it. Okay. All right, so we will get on to my segment, the electric chair. Just 6 rapid fire questions, whatever comes to mind first. Some of these will be wrestling based, some of them not. You can both answer whatever order you like. So first question, if money were no object and the wrestler or talent couldn't say no, they're going to come yes as soon as you ask, who are you going to book for ASAP Wrestling?
Makito.
All right. If you both got asked by AAA or New Japan to do a 10-city tour, next summer, but you could only do one, who are you going with?
I'm going New Japan.
I probably would say New Japan as well.
Tough choice, I know. What is your favorite road trip snack?
I am a fan of pretty much anything. I am not the health nut. I will just eat junk food. But yeah, Oreos are great.
I can
Beef
concur
jerky.
that there you go. I love beef
Yes,
jerky.
beef jerky.
I spent a car ride 16 hours with Brad, and it's true. We had no good diet that trip.
No, junk food. Donuts.
See, I picture Brad stopping in the gas station, getting a couple bottles of Prime, some beef jerky, and a couple bags of Doritos.
Yep.
Don't forget there's something sweet too. He's probably got something sweet there too.
Almost another one.
So, what's one movie you can watch over and over again and never get tired?
The Mighty Ducks.
The Wizard of Oz.
Ooh,
Oh, wow.
We're not in
Okay.
Kansas anymore. I love it.
What's a gimmick that you haven't seen in wrestling in a while that might make an appearance in ASAP Wrestling?
Whoa.
There's a certain gimmick that I'm a huge fan of that is kind of in the development stage right now. I don't want to give too much because this person has been working really hard and we've been kind of like helping him out. But let's just say that there's a certain style of TV character that has not been played in the wrestling scene yet, and ASAP will definitely have that displayed kind of prominently. So,
Okay.
I'm a crazy man, so I want to pull up like a triple cage stacked like ring with a cage, then another ring and a cage, and then another ring with a cage on there. And you got to win every match. You got like 10 people down here. First 5 win, they go up, and then the next 3 go up, and then you got a triple threat at the top to get out of the cage, to climb to the top, to get to the belt. Yeah. And I want to see somebody get thrown off that son of a bitch.
that'd be
That
just
sounds very expensive.
one match the whole night. That'd just be that match.
Oh, the insurance premium on that, I'm sure.
Oh, oof.
I don't even want to think about it.
Oof.
All right, last question. And that's up to you if you guys want to name names on this question. What's the nicest thing you've seen a big top tier indie talent come into a show and do for one of the local indie talents? In the spirit of, positive wrestling for the community.
That's a tough question because I see a lot of it.
I gotta give a shout out to our man Adam Brooks, a guy who was over here on a visa trying to get signed himself. Spent his entire time putting everybody over that he wrestled, including myself. So I'm gonna have to say Adam Brooks on that one. Oi, bruv, sick cunt. I love that guy.
I guess another one that I would really need some credit would be Drexel. That man has spent an entire career making things better for people. So,
All right. That is all I got. Seven, do you have anything else?
Yeah. Brad, where can they find you at if they want to follow you or stalk you or whatever you prefer?
they can referee Bradley at all the socials. I actually just launched the Twitch account, so they can get on Referee Bradley there, where I'll be streaming and doing some fun things there. Then ASAP Wrestling, they can get a hold of me there.
Where can they find what is the handle for ASAP Wrestling for the socials?
All-Star Action Pro. Or they can just go ASAP Wrestling.
Is it on all Twitter, Instagram?
I believe we have the Twitter set up right now. And the Facebook, I believe, is set up.
Perfect. Max, what about you? Where can they find you at?
They can find me at Max Burnside PNW on all social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, or whatever you want to call it. I'm now on LinkedIn as well, just because now technically, we're on the business side of things. ASAP Wrestling has a LinkedIn as well as myself. So
Threads.
Max Burnside PNW on LinkedIn as well. yeah, that's where you can find me.
Sarah, where can they find you at?
Usually all the Buckle Bomb Entertainment handles. If you want to look me up personally on Twitter, I don't really post as much there. The real Sarah BBE. If you want to see more posts about me, follow me actually on TikTok. That's where I post most of my stuff, or Facebook.
All right. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. You can
Hold on,
click follow.
Seven, where can they find you?
Please don't. No. You can find us or find me at Seven Alexander Photography on Facebook is probably the most likely, or Seven Photos on Instagram. And if you want to follow Buckle Bomb, you can follow us on all social media platforms. And we're streaming on from all podcast platforms, including Amazon and Spotify and podcast. All right. Thank you for joining us. See you guys
Before
next
we
time.
go, we got to let everyone know, if you need to book a photographer, book Brian.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you guys need a photographer? You guys? We'll talk about it.
We always need photographers.
Absolutely.
We'll definitely be hitting up because we like the raw photos you do. Your raw photos are awesome.
That was
You
black
get
and
that
white.
nice angle.
Appreciate it. Much appreciated. All right, guys. We will see you next time. Bye.